terrorist tonight goes into a...
Fair use disclaimer. This video is for educational, commentary and news reporting purposes only. It may include short clips, images, or quotes from third-party sources related to politics, news and sports, which are used under the principles of fair use as outlined in Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act. These materials are not intended to infringe on any copyrights and are utilized solely to provide analysis, criticism, or discussion on public interest topics. No copyright infringement is intended.
What is up? What is going on? It's your boy Maki Dan, the historian, coming to you with another F1 race lifetime and a watch along stream for Democracy 101 and also for my new channel, Full Throttle Frequency. To anybody watching over on Democracy 101, I will drop the link to Full Throttle Frequency in just 1 second. But I hope everybody has had a great holiday week with Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has a great holiday season coming up with Christmas as well as New Year's. But today it is about that time. Let me look in the chat quick. Of course, to my OG Mick Smithers, salute to you. Thank you for coming through. Team Ferrari looked like some straight ass today. I mean, it does not look good for Ferrari at all whatsoever. Charles Leclerc starts at P10 and Lewis Hamilton is starting all the way at P18. So it just went terrible yesterday for them at qualifying. Shout out to Vacay Bay. Thank you so much for coming through, Bay. I always appreciate you. All righty, the race, or at least, excuse me, the formation lap is just getting underway. So it seems like everybody except the Kick-Sabor car of Nico Hulkenberg is going to start on mediums. Lewis Hamilton and Hulkenberg are starting out on soft tires. And Cologne for the Alpine car is going to be starting out on hard tires. Not entirely sure I agree with that strategy, but we might see. Those tires might be able to last a little bit longer. This is obviously a real racing circuit. This is not a street circuit. Let me see. Looks to be a clear day out there. No raining. Or excuse me, it's nighttime right now in Qatar. They're over there in Doha. The track looks beautiful. Currently, right now, our racing leaders after yesterday's qualifying session are, excuse me, hold on, let me get it up. Here it is. Oscar Piastri of the McLaren and Lando Norris of the McLaren and Max Verstappen of the Red Bulls. So our three championship leaders are also going to start 1, 2, and 3 to begin this race. You see it up right here. Last weekend we had huge drama. Both McLarens, who are leading in the championship race over Max Verstappen, were disqualified. They were disqualified from last week's Las Vegas Grand Prix for a planking violation. The wooden plank underneath their car. They're saying that it can only be a certain number of millimeters. They said that it was literally a hair over, and for that reason, they were disqualified. They got no points, and that allows for Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, the young goat, Max Verstappen, who is trying to achieve his fifth straight Formula One driving championship. I don't. I'm not. I think. I don't think that's ever been achieved. I don't even think Michael Schumacher has done that or Lewis Hamilton. I think the record is 4 straight. So if Max Verstappen can get it done today, if he can win this race, it puts him in an even better position. Now, even if he wins this race, it doesn't mean he would necessarily take the lead, but still, it makes things even more dramatic going into next week's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which will be the season finale for F1. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. They lining up at the formation lap. Or excuse me, I mean they're lining up at the pit lane. It's about to start. And lights off and away we go. And the Red Bull is immediately going wheel to wheel with Oscar Piastri for position number 2. And Max Verstappen is going to overtake Oscar Piastri. But Piastri's trying to fight back. But no, Verstappen is going to hold the position. Piastri trying to come around the outside into the next corner. But Max Verstappen has this position. No, Piastri is going to try to take it, but no. Max Verstappen holds the position. Lando Norris is in P1. No, excuse me. Oscar Piastri is in P1. Lando Norris, I don't know what happened. Lando Norris falls all the way to P3. So the championship leader, Lando Norris, is in P3. Oscar Piastri, his teammate, has moved up into P1. And Max Verstappen is in the P2. We also have some battles taking place. Oliver Behrman overtakes Lewis Hamilton. But Lewis Hamilton already shoots up all the way to P14 after he started in P18. Very interesting lap number 1. George Russell falls all the way behind Fernando Alonso of the Aston Martin and Carlos Sainz of the Williams car. George Russell of the Mercedes is falling all the way back to P7. Let's see. I'm looking out for Ferrari, McSmithers. I'm looking out for them Ferrari boys, McSmithers. That was a beautiful opening lap. I expect this to be an action-packed day. I expect Lando Norris to go out there and basically die on that fucking track. Whatever needs to get done to win this, to secure this championship lead for him going into the final weekend. DRS is enabled. Right now, Max Verstappen is currently 1.6 seconds behind the leader, Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris is now 3 seconds behind Max Verstappen. So as it currently stands, there is a 10-point difference between Piastri and Verstappen, and there is about a 30-point difference between Verstappen and Lando Norris for the championship. Oscar Piastri just put up a 1 minute 27 second point one lap. Oh, we just almost had an overtake. Charles Leclerc is riding hard on that kicks a bore car for Hulkenberg. And it looks like Nico Hulkenberg is also trying to go around the Alpine for Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly, a guy who, in my opinion, does not have the nuts to win this race. I don't think a French guy will ever win this race or any races in the future. I just don't think the French have the nuts to produce a driver that can do it. Or a driver, or excuse me, or produce a car that can do it. Respectfully. But Verstappen is now behind the leader by 2 seconds. He needs to do better. Verstappen cannot afford to not get 25 points in this race. To keep his long shot of winning alive, he needs to get that 25 point reward for winning the race. Lando Norris, I mean, that was just a beautiful, beautiful move. There is a investigation going on for Pierre Gasly. They're saying he unsafely rejoined. I don't know what that's about. The FIA are known for being on what is called bullshit. Let's see. They're showing that beautiful overtake. Max Verstappen. See, that's the difference when you have nuts. Max Verstappen went straight wheel to wheel with Lando Norris. And then he dive bombed him into the first turn. But Norris didn't have the nuts. He braked too early. Norris didn't have the nuts to brake later. Yup. Verstappen dive bombed him, and he didn't have the nuts to stay with it. Then back here, we see what's going on with Lewis Hamilton. How did he get all the way up from P18? So he overtakes one car that got bumped off. Then he went toe-to-toe with Nico Hulkenberg. Woo! That was a great recovery by Lewis Hamilton. And by equal measure, a decent recovery by Pitt. Also, that's what the investigation is for. They're saying that when Pierre Gasly went off the track and he came back on the track, he forced Lewis Hamilton wide. So they may give Gasly a 5 second time penalty. But going back to the race, Oscar Piastri has now opened up a 2.3 second lead over Max Verstappen. And by the same measure, Max Verstappen has opened up a 2.1 second lead over Lando Norris. Looking all around the track, George Russell trying to gain on George Russell of the Mercedes, who is currently in P7, is trying to gain on Fernando Alonso, the legend in the Aston Martin. He's behind Alonso by about a second. Less than that, by 0.5 seconds. Max Verstappen just put up the fastest time. That's good. He's just decreased the distance between him and Piastri by about 0.2 seconds. Now he's decreased it by another 0.1 second. So let's see here. Black and white flag for car 10. Gasly rejoining unsafely. So it looks like, just as I said, Pierre Gasly's going to be getting some type of time penalty. Or they may make him give up his current P9 position to Nico Hulkenberg of the Kick Sabor car, who is in P10 currently. But Lewis Hamilton is currently on soft tires. He's in P14. I'm just going to keep my eyes on my Grenadian brethren, hoping he can put up at least a decent result in this race. I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to be playing this clip all afternoon.
You are a failure. You are a failure. You can never make it. You can never, you know you cannot make it. You need to be cutting grass, making this place fresh for the actual footballers that want to use this place. You are tired. You are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you. Idiot.
I'm praying that Ferrari doesn't make me beat him to death with that clip all day. Nico Hulkenberg just passed Pierre Gasly. He moves up into P10. Oh no, Nico Hulkenberg crashes. Nico Hulkenberg crashes into the wall. His car is done for this race. We have a yellow flag out. That is a shame. Oh man, that's a shame. Wow. And Pierre Gasly has damage on his car. The plank underneath his car is dragging, and it also looks like he has a puncture on his front left tire. So Pierre Gasly falls all the way back to P19. He's going to have to come into the pits. That is a huge disappointment for the Alpine cars. I'm not entirely sure what happened. They're going to show the replay, but Nico Hulkenberg, this is an absolute shame. The best driver that Kick Sabor could put on the track is going to be out. Obviously, we know that Kick Sabor is going to be changing their team. We know that Audi bought out the Kick Sabor team for the 2026 season and in perpetuity. So this will be one of the last two races for Kick Sabor to race their cars out there. So it's a very disappointing result to end the season for them. But but with the yellow flag out, they're coming into the pits. Max Verstappen pits. Piastri and Norris, they are staying out on the track. That is an interesting strategy. But everybody else pits. Antonelli pits. Carlos Sainz pits. Fernando Alonso, George Russell, Isaac Hadjar, Charles Leclerc. Basically, the entire racetrack outside of the McLarens have pit. And as a result, Esteban Ocon is not pit. So as a result, Oscar Piastri, P1. Lando Norris, P2. Esteban Ocon for the Haas car is now in P3. He did not pit as well. Max Verstappen is in P4. Carlos Sainz, P5. Kimi Antonelli for the Mercedes is in P6. Fernando Alonso of the Aston Martin, P7. Isaac Hadjar of the Racing Bull car, P8. George Russell of the Mercedes, P9. And then we have Charles Leclerc at P10, finishing out the points section. But this will be interesting. The safety car is still out there. We go into lap 8. Now they're showing the replay of the incident. Oh, man. I think that I just think it was a freak accident. It was one of those things. Nico tried to overtake Pierre Gasly around the outside, and then his back tire touched Pierre Gasly's front tire. I don't think that was a thing of Pierre Gasly intentionally pushing him or not giving him enough space. I just think Maybe Nico might have misjudged how much space he needed to make that move. Nico is complaining. He says, I gave him loads of space. I mean, it didn't look like to me that Pierre Gasly pushed him or anything like that. It just looked like a freak accident. We go in the chat. Sean Magan. I think that's my guy, Sean. Salute to you, man. Thank you for coming through. Please smash that like button. If you have not been over to Full Throttle Frequency yet, I'm about to drop the link in the chat. Wow, and Esteban Ocon is being given a 5-second time penalty. So he goes back into the pits and drops back to P18. So all is right in the world. Max is back in P3. He's going to be chasing Lando Norris. One second. Trying to get the link. Okay, guys, I just posted the link for Full Throttle Frequency. If you are over at Democracy 101, please hit the link, head on over, and smash the like button or subscribe if you haven't been over there yet. We are covering the Formula One Qatar Grand Prix. Some exciting end of season action going on. So Esteban Ocon is being given a 5-second time was given a 5-second time penalty because they're saying he had a false start to begin the race. We saw that happen with Kimi Antonelli last week. Kimi, I mean, just showed the nuts of a warrior and chose not to come into the pits. Kimi rode on, I think, medium tires for 40 laps because he refused to come in and take that time penalty, man. Like that, to me, that's warrior shit. That's him saying, nah, fuck that shit. Y'all, whatever happened, y'all got it wrong. I didn't move. As a result, he chose to stay out there on that track and take that time penalty. But let me see. So the McLarens for Piastri and Norris still have chosen not to come in. I guess they felt that it was too early. I mean, it's not 20. We're not 20 laps in yet. We're only 9 laps in thus far. We're going into lap 10. So maybe they're planning to push these tires all the way out to maybe lap 30. We're gonna see how that works. Salute to my brother Boxing Scholar. Thank you for coming through. Even though Boxing Scholar is a bigot and only thinks white men can appreciate motorsports and the beauty and the sound of racing cars, but hey, that's my brother Boxing Scholar. I mean, Boxing Scholar. I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing. If a boxer decides to walk through hell and gets beat to death, but then he goes and knocks out the other fighter, I would say that guy had the nuts of a champion and a warrior. Yep, Sean, pretty much. If you don't come into the pits, you don't get the 5 because the 5-second time penalty is assessed when you're in the pits. It's essentially assessed to your pit crew. Your pit crew, as soon as you stop and hold in position, your pit crew cannot move for 5 seconds. So the safety car is ending. I'm not sure what's happening. What's going on? So they made everybody stop on the safety car. So Lando Norris is right behind Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen is right behind him, and the race is back on. But they're all basically within a breath of each other. Yeah, Sean. But so that's what I'm saying, Sean. The fact that Kimi Antonelli said, fuck that, I'm not going to come into the pits and take the penalty. I'm going to stay out here and go to war on these old tires. Like, I just have to salute him. You one hell of a driver. But right now, the race restarts from the yellow flag. Lando Norris is behind his teammate. The two championship leaders, Lando Norris and Piastri, both from McLaren. We are going to see what Lando Norris decides to do here. Does Lando Norris decide to play defense on Max Verstappen? Or does he go for the win? It looks like Piastri is beginning to take a 1 second lead over Norris. Verstappen is Oh! Looked like it had some slip and slide from Norris. Might have been a lockup into turn 11. Let's see if Max can take advantage of that. Hey, Boxer Skylar, it's whatever you think. Whatever you think, bro. I gotta salute cojones. I gotta salute dudes that take risks that other people wouldn't take. And in the rest of the race, we got some pretty good battles going on here. I am rooting for Behrman, the kid who is competing on the only American team, but Oscar Piastri just put up the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute, 25 seconds, flat. Behrman is 0.4 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. Come on, Haas. Haas being the only American manufacturing team. So I hope Haas defeats and absolutely brutalizes those sausage-eating Italians. I hope they go ahead and beat those Ferraris to death. Behrman is now 0.2 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. This is a battle for P9. Max Verstappen is now 2.4 seconds behind Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri is ahead in this race, ahead of his teammate Lando Norris by 1.5 seconds. Everybody is on medium tires. Everybody. So we're gonna see if McLaren's gamble works. We're gonna see they made the decision not to pit. They made the decision to keep their cars out there on the same tires. By the way, if anybody wants to watch the races on ESPN2, I repeat, ESPN2. I think on in the UK it's on Sky Sports. But yeah, I always love when we come over to the Middle East. They have real racing tracks. They have real race circuits. I think the idea of doing F1 on the Las Vegas Strip, yeah, it was cool. They're talking about doing it in the Big Apple around Times Square and whatever. I'm not really for it. I don't really like the racing circuits. I think they cause too many problems. You got manhole covers. You got fucking cracks in the road and the asphalt. And we saw last year. I think it was I think Sergio Perez. He had a huge blowout because his car actually hit a manhole cover. So I'm just not for it. And then what you see with a lot of those tracks is they're not built for wheel-to-wheel action. Because the roads are so tight and narrow. Especially what you see with in Monte Carlo, which, is the apple of the eye of a lot of racing fans. But I'm not really a huge fan of Monte Carlo. My favorite track is the Sao Paulo circuit. The Sao Paulo Grand Prix, it's just historically given us some of the greatest races in the history of F1, going all the way back to Lewis Hamilton's first F1 drivers championship when he won it with McLaren. But back to the race, we are into lap 14. Lando Norris is behind his teammate and his rival for the championship. He's behind Oscar Piastri now by 2 seconds. Max Verstappen is behind Lando Norris by 4.3 seconds. Max has got to do better. Lewis Hamilton is in P14. Continues to be a disappointing result. Yeah, pretty much, Sean. So with a circuit like Monte Carlo, you just don't have to make any mistakes. Because I've seen it, even when there's a wreck on Monte Carlo, like you still have to the driver behind still has to brake before he can overtake. You don't see that in no other fucking type of track. Like that's how tight and narrow the streets are. But I'm still rooting for the kid Behrman. The kid Behrman is still in P10, still trying to overtake Charles Leclerc for P9. He's behind Charles Leclerc still by 0.5 seconds. Charles Leclerc is also behind George Russell by 0.8 seconds. There is a 7-lap age discrepancy between the tires of the McLarens and everybody else's tires, but specifically Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is on 8-lap-old tires, and the McLarens are on 15-lap-old tires. I don't think it was a smart move. I don't think it was a smart move to not pit. I think they should have pitted earlier. That Ferrari is still struggling. That Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. He's behind George Russell by 0.5 seconds, but when they come down that straight, I do not believe that this Ferrari car could go wheel for wheel with a Mercedes. At least not based on what I've seen this season. But Ali Behrman and Lance Stroll, the son of Aston Martin's owner, and by the way, Lance Stroll is also the driver for Aston Martin, is being assessed, or excuse me, no, excuse me, they're not even going to investigate. They're just noting that he infringed on the yellow flag, which probably means that he sped up his rate of speed before the yellow flag was over. But what do you expect? It's a damn shame. Yeah, rest in peace to Eddie Jordan, man. That's a legend right there. A legend. If That's a legend for sure, man. Eddie Jordan, he definitely left his mark on the sport of F1 and on motorsports in general through his broadcasting. He definitely left his mark. RIP to him. Yuki Tsunoda, as per usual, is struggling. They are going to get him out of there. I think Red Bull is going to move on from him very soon. because Yuki Tsunoda, unfortunately, just has not been able to compete. He's just not been able to bring the best out of that car. And I will grant Yuki Tsunoda that the Red Bull car this year has been pretty fucking terrible. It's been pretty bad. And like I've really just been impressed with Max Verstappen and his ability to bring out these great results in I'll say it's been the Red Bull car has been a substandard car in the past 2 years. It hasn't been the best. So for Max Verstappen to bring out some of these results, where a couple weeks ago at the Brazil Grand Prix, he went all the way from P19, and at one point he was leading the race. He finished P3. And for him to do that with a car that, he was struggling with that car all weekend. He got disqualified from from the qualifying session. Had to start from the pit lane. For him to be able to do that, it speaks to the level of talent he has. So, and Yuki just has not been cutting it at all whatsoever. So, people can feel however they want about it, but Red Bull, they demand the absolute best at all times. And they're going to get you the hell up out of there if they don't think you are that. And Yuki, respectfully, he's my island brother. I love her. I love the Japanese folk, but he hasn't been that. But back to the race, man. We going into lap 19. The order has not changed. The order remains Oscar Piastri in P1, Lando Norris P2. Excuse me. Max Verstappen P3. Right now, Isaac Hadjar is trying to gain on Fernando Alonso, the legend, who is in P6. Just about everybody from P7 all the way down to P15, they are in a position to threaten. They're all within a second of the car that is leading them. So at least within the next two or three laps, we hope to see some type of action going on or some type of overtake attempts. But right now, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, they remain on those tires. They're going into lap 20. What's up, Angie, baby? Thank you so much for coming through. Please smash that like button. Hope you're having a beautiful day. We just watching some men go to war. Because that's all racing is to me. It's combat mixed with speed. Especially back in the old days, back in the 90s and the 80s and the 60s, when you barely had any protection. Today they got you basically like in a cage. But back in the old days, you were screwed. If you crashed, there's a pretty good chance you wasn't surviving. So the McLarens are currently on 21 lap old tires. They are coming up to that 25 lap. You want to say 25 laps are pretty much the limit of efficiency for medium tires. After 25 laps, those tires are completely run down and bald. However, last week we saw Kimi Antonelli, just defy. Just defy logic. He went 40 laps on some medium tires. Yeah, it is crazy. But that's part of the strategy of racing, Angie baby, because you have to. It's a fact of every racing car. You have to come into the pits eventually. But what they're gonna try to do, yup, and Piastri is on his team radio. He's saying that his front left tire is beginning to struggle. You typically try to hold it to a maximum of 2 to 3 pit stops per race. You try to hold it to a maximum of 2 to 3. And your pit crew, they have to be, just highly professional. The pit crew guys are some of the highest paid athletes on the team. People might not recognize that, but pit crew workers, pit crew engineers are athletes because they train to get in there quick and fast in 2 seconds. Take off a tire, get to the other one, and they have to do this with only one jack. And the ideal pit stop time is 2.3 seconds. If you go over that, if you go over 2.5 seconds, that's not ideal. And then it's probably going, with the new regulations, you have to slow down when you get in the pits. It's probably going to take you a max of about 20 seconds if you want to be efficient. 20 seconds is that benchmark that they're looking for when they go into the pit lanes. But right now, Lando Norris, and that's why it's so important. Okay, well, they're saying at the Qatar pit lanes, you lose about 26 seconds when you go in. They're now on 23 lap old tires. We move into lap 23. No positions have changed really anywhere else in the race. Yup, Fernando Alonso is, I think he's 45 years old. Sean. I think Fernando's 45 and Lewis is 40. And salute to my guy Canes, man. Salute to my guy Canes. Thank you for coming through. Please smash that like button. The racing season really ends next week after this after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So it's gonna be no more racing until spring of next year when the DTM and I'm looking out for the Super GT over in Japan, as well as MotoGP, and I think World Rally starts in May. So Full Throttle Frequency, my motorsports channel, it's really gonna get it popping next year. But we're gonna definitely finish out these races. We into lap 24. Yeah, Sean. It's crazy. 45 years old because racing, it leaves a different type of strain on the body from CTE with what boxers and football players go through. With racing, it leaves damage on your spine, on your neck. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see a lot of them have really bad posture and they have arthritis. And Piastri's gonna box. Piastri is gonna come into the pits. Piastri is coming into the pits on lap 24. They're telling him to box. Lando Norris, Verstappen are behind him. I do not believe Lando Norris has been complaining. However, he is on 24 lap old tires, and Piastri is coming into the pits. Let's see this operation. We see his teammate go by him on the outside. His teammate is definitely going to pass him. Will Verstappen also pass him into the pits. That was a 3-second pit stop time. That was not ideal. Verstappen is coming around right now. And Verstappen passes him to take P2. And now they're telling Lando Norris to come into the pits. Oscar Piastri is going to come out of the pits in P5, just ahead of Kimi Antonelli. Or excuse me, just behind Kimi Antonelli. He's just in front of Fernando Alonso, who's in P6. Yeah. I mean, and not only that, I mean, they gotta train their next year. You gotta be really fit to be a race car driver. You gotta be really fit. But with Fernando Alonso, it's really crazy because he has also competed in WEC, the World Endurance racing stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's won Le Mans at least, and he won at Le Mans at least 2 different times for when he was with Ferrari. So multiple times he's been in a car for over 8 hours. But now Lando Norris comes into the pits. And it looks like Max Verstappen is gonna pass him. Max Verstappen takes the lead in the Qatar Grand Prix. He moves into P1 on lap 26. And Lando Norris is going to come out with a 2.2 pit stop time. Very ideal. Let's see. And his teammate Oscar Piastri is going to pass him. So the order is now Max Verstappen of the Red Bulls in in P1 leading this race. And, Fernando Alonso going at Lando Norris, letting him know, young man, you can't just rest up right now. I'm behind you. Don't think I'm no punk. Don't think I'm not going to try and take you. Pause. But as I was just saying, the race order is now Max Verstappen of the Red Bulls, P1. The Williams, Carlos Sainz, P2. Kimi Antonelli, the kid, the 18-year-old prodigy, the genius for Mercedes, is in P3. Oscar Piastri, number 2 in the championship leaders, is in P4, and Lando Norris, the championship leader, is in P5. Currently behind him is Fernando Alonso in P6. So now the hunters become the hunted. How long will Max Verstappen remain out there on those tires? So now Lance Stroll is under investigation for a speeding in the pit lane violation. So this kid is just undisciplined as they get. Oscar Piastri just put up the fastest lap time. He did sub 1 minute 25 seconds. He put up a 1 minute 24 second 0.9 lap time. That is not good sailing if you're Max Verstappen. If you're Max Verstappen, you're hoping Kimi Antonelli can hold off Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris at least for the next 10 laps. So Oscar Piastri is asking his team engineer, he's asking if everybody has to pit on lap 32. And his engineer replied yes. So Lance Stroll is being assessed a 5-second time penalty. Lance Stroll is, he's last in the race anyways. The kid fucking sucks. He's a nepotism baby. The Eagles lost to the Bears because Kevin Patullo doesn't have the nuts to be a real goddamn a real offensive play caller. Kevin Patullo doesn't have the nuts. Piastri is saying on Oscar, so they're saying that they're going to go maximum to lap 49 with their tires. But right now, Max Verstappen is building up a little lead for himself for when he's going to have to go into those for when he's going to have to go into the pit lane. Max Verstappen is currently ahead of Carlos Sainz by 14 seconds. He's ahead, and overall, he's ahead of Oscar Piastri by 17 seconds. And he's ahead of Lando Norris by 21 seconds. Verstappen is on 21 lap old tires. Nah, I'm not gonna be nice. I mean, that was fucking terrible. Like, just overall, we went out there and looked like we didn't have the nuts to take that field in Philadelphia. But I think my team is gonna bounce back. I think we're gonna bounce back. I think we're gonna be all right, Angie, baby. You know, I don't think the Eagles are gonna play with the church money, like they like to say. The Birds are not gonna play with the church money. At least I don't think so. But right now, Max Verstappen has now opened up a 15-second lead over Carlos Sainz of the Williams car. Yeah, you damn straight we ain't the Dolphins. The Dolphins are bums. Are you kidding me? Y'all went 20 years without a playoff appearance. Then y'all made the playoffs, got destroyed by the Chiefs. I mean, y'all don't have the nuts to stand up to Eagles. Matter of fact, the last time we played y'all, we destroyed you. When Tua was healthy and when y'all had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle healthy. Or excuse me, Jalen Waddle. Y'all don't got the nuts to stand up to the Eagles. And Max Verstappen has now opened up a 15.3 second lead over Carlos Sainz. I mean, I don't know what you're laughing about, Angie Bay. I'm speaking my facts. I'm speaking of my facts. I'm speaking of facts. Oscar Piastri giving it everything he's got, going down the pit lane. Oh, and Piastri overtakes Kimi Antonelli. Piastri overtakes Kimi Antonelli. It was coming down that pit lane. Piastri dive bombed him to the inside corner and overtook him. Was a clean move. So this puts more pressure on Max Verstappen to continue opening up a wider and wider lead over Carlos Sainz of the Williams car. Salute to my brother Pittsburgh T. Salute to my brother Pittsburgh T. Pittsburgh T, you watching the race? Anybody want to watch the race? It's on ESPN2. Right now, Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz are on 23 lap old tires. They currently lead the race in P1 and P2. Oscar Piastri of the McLaren is in P3. Kimi Antonelli was just passed over. We're going to see how far they push these tires for Max Verstappen. But Pittsburgh team, man, these McLarens, or at least the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, I mean, they are just looking monstrous out there today. Especially with that overtake I just saw. It just hit 210, and he managed to brake so cleanly on the inside. But right now, Max Verstappen has a 17.1 second lead over Carlos Sainz. However, Oscar Piastri is gaining on Carlos Sainz. He's now behind Carlos Sainz by 0.8 seconds. That is going to continue to shrink. I think when they come down that pit lane, they're telling Max Verstappen the box. They're telling Max Verstappen the box. On the next lap, Max Verstappen is going to come into the pits. And Oscar Piastri is gaining on Carlos Sainz. He's now behind him by 0.6 seconds. Whoa! Lando Norris just tried to overtake Kimi Antonelli with an inside move, but Kimi Antonelli shut the door. Lando Norris trying to get up to P4. His teammate of the McLarens is in P3, not behind Carlos Sainz by 0.6 seconds. Max Verstappen is about to pit. The average pit time has been about 20 to 26 seconds on this course. Max Verstappen now ahead by 18 seconds. Let's see. Will he be able to pit? Absolutely, y'all are bums. Max Verstappen is in the pits. Max Verstappen is in the pits. Can he get this done? Can he get this operation done? Let's see. Let's see. This is a big time pit for Red Bull. The tires are on. How many seconds was that? 2.5 seconds is an ideal pit time. It's going to be close. Kimi Antonelli comes into the pits. Oscar Piastri. Can he pass Max Verstappen on the outside? They're not showing the camera, but no. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris are going to pass Max Verstappen. Y'all are absolute bums. Canes. I've always called y'all bums. But now it falls back on the McLarens. It falls back on the McLarens. Can the McLarens stay out on these tires? Or excuse me, rather the question is, how long can McLaren stay out on these tires? The max they might be able to go is 49 without beginning to feel issues. I mean, Angie, baby, this is exciting stuff. This is combat. This is strategy. This is tactics. This is warfare with speed. Angie, baby. Yeah. Yeah, your streak of not winning playoff games is intact. I know for sure that's intact. Your streak of looking like bums. George Russell is in the pits. George Russell is in the pits. Oh, and the Racing Bull car overtakes George Russell in the pits. Anybody coming through, please smash that like button and head on over to Full Throttle Frequency. If you haven't already, I'm also going live from over there. Please head over there and subscribe and smash the like button. We're into lap 34. And it is just it is just as how it started. Oscar Piastri is into P1. Lando Norris, P2. Max Verstappen, P3. So Max Verstappen switched to the hard tires, which is interesting. The hard tires obviously are more durable. He'll be able to go longer. However, they have less grip. Salute to my brother Pittsburgh team, man. Please smash that like button. Thank you. I wasn't ignoring you. At least in my opinion, I wasn't ignoring you. But unfortunately, the kid Behrman is falling all the way back to P18. He's on the hard tires as well. So, and it looks like Behrman is under investigation for an incident, unfortunately. But yeah, this race, it looks like it's going to come down to strategy when it comes to pitting. So Lando Norris is complaining about his ability to throttle through turn 7 and is telling his team that he can't do it. He literally said he can't do it. I mean, that McLaren's been having a monster year up until that disqualification. Wow. So it looks like Ollie Behrman, I don't know what happened. I think he might have drove off before his back tire was put on. And they're saying that, well, oh man, I feel so bad for the kid. Wow, that's terrible. It looked like he just made a boneheaded mistake. He just went too fast. That's unfortunate, and Behrman moves all the way back to P18. They probably will. They probably will. I looked into that rule change you were talking about with Mercedes Pittsburgh T. Which was just absolutely egregious. So Piastri is talking about we need to, and they're talking about Verstappen. So he's talking about we need to discuss how we beat him on pace or beat him on a safety car or something of that nature. But Max Verstappen is behind Lando Norris by 2.5 seconds. Now behind him by 2.4. He's trying to gain on him. There's 20 laps left in this race. They absolutely will do a rule change. Max Verstappen is now behind Norris by 2.3 seconds. Looks like those hard tires are coming together for him. Now behind by 2.2 seconds. In the next 2 laps or so, Verstappen may be hoping that he could get to sub 1 second, sub 2 seconds. He may even be able to do that on this lap. Oscar Piastri is in front of his teammate Lando Norris by 6.4 seconds. And Max Verstappen is in front of Carlos Sainz by 20 seconds. So those three, the 3 championship leaders they're basically in their own race. And, oh, who is that? Which McLaren was? So Lando Norris, it looks like he had a lockup or a slip going around turn 3. And that might that gave Max Verstappen an opportunity. Max Verstappen is now behind Lando Norris by sub 2 seconds. He's behind Norris by 1.9 seconds. And this is what I said. This is what this game is about, not making mistakes. Max Verstappen's pit crew, Red Bull, they didn't make a mistake. They did their job. They gave him, or excuse me, he was only in the pits for 2.5 seconds. Allowed him to get out in optimal position behind Lando Norris. And Max Verstappen back to being behind by 2.2 seconds. Max Verstappen is fighting hard with that car. Max Verstappen is trying to dive bomb into these corners. He's now behind Norris by 1.8 seconds. We have just 18 laps to go in this race. We're 39 laps in for a 57 lapper. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Please smash that like button. If you're new to my Full Throttle Frequency channel, please subscribe. I'll drop the link once again if you're over here on Democracy 101. We're into lap 40. We have 17 laps to go in this race. Max Verstappen is gaining on Lando Norris. Right now, the strategy of deciding not to pit, and I'm talking about earlier. Oh man, so the kid Behrman has been given a 10-second penalty for the stop and go situation in the pit lane. Unfortunate, but that's what it is. Max Verstappen continuing to gain. He's behind Norris by 1.6 seconds. We are in lap 40 with 17 laps left. Max Verstappen is on 12 lap old tires. The McLarens are, I believe, on 19 lap old tires. Make that 20 lap old, or excuse me, Max Verstappen is on 7 lap old tires. The McLarens, Piastri is on 16 lap old tires, and Norris is on 14 lap old tires. So about an 8 lap age discrepancy between the McLarens and Max Verstappen. So realistically, Max Verstappen might be able to ride it out on these hard tires. But Lando Norris and Piastri are going to have to come into the pits. We're going to see what happens, but we're going to see if McLaren is going to regret not coming into the pits. We're going to see if they are going to regret not coming into the pits during that safety car yellow flag for that Hulkenberg incident. Max Verstappen now behind Lando Norris by just 1.1 seconds. In the next lap or two, you'd probably be behind by sub 1 second. They come down the pit straight lane. Or excuse me, the pit lane going into turn 1. Oscar Piastri is on his radio. I can't hear. I can't see or hear what he's saying. Lewis Hamilton has remained in P14 this entire race, and Charles Leclerc has remained in P9 this entire race.
You are a failure. You are a failure. You can never make it. You can never. You know you cannot make it. You need to be cutting grass, making this place fresh for the actual footballers that want to use this place. You are tired. You are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you. Idiot.
Just an absolutely shit day for Ferrari. They had a shit day yesterday at qualifying. I mean, there's nothing really else you could say about that. But right now, Max Verstappen is behind, or excuse me, Oscar Piastri is into the pits. Oscar Piastri is into the pits. We're going to see. And yes, Max, it looks like Max Verstappen and hold on, no. So it's gonna be close. Oscar Piastri is coming out of the pits right now, and yes, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris pass him. So Lando Norris is into the lead, and Max Verstappen is behind him by 0.7 seconds. And Lando Norris is going to have to pit eventually. And Oscar Piastri is behind Max Verstappen by 17 seconds. This is going to be a shootout to the finish. What is Lando Norris going to do? Lando Norris, the championship leader. Let me put up the standings for the people so they can get an understanding. Lando Norris is leading this championship by 25 points. He currently is leading this race. Max Verstappen is behind him in third position, or excuse me, in third place on the standings by 25 points. If he were to win this race and pick up those 25 points, it would not necessarily mean he takes the lead, but it puts him right in position going into the finale next week at Abu Dhabi. And Max Verstappen is now behind Lando Norris by 0.5 seconds. He continues to gain on him. Lando Norris is in a very, very tough position. Does he just bite the bullet and pit? Or does he, I mean, if Lando Norris pits right now, he's never going to get back the lead. So he might just have to slug it out on these tires the rest of the way. And I'm not sure he can. Max Verstappen right now is on hard tires. And he has been smoking Lando Norris these past, you could really say these past 10 laps. And it looks like Norris is going to box. Norris is going to box, and Max Verstappen is going to take the lead in this race. Max Verstappen is going to take the lead. And that may do it for the Qatar Grand Prix. We're going to see what happens. Oscar Piastri is obviously making very good time, though. He's behind Max Verstappen, he's behind Lando Norris by 10 seconds. He's going to pass his teammate, yes. So now, Oscar Piastri is behind Max Verstappen by 15.6 seconds. And Piastri just put up the best lap time, the fastest lap time of the race of 1 minute, 22 seconds, 0.9. Yes, Angie baby, you have different types of tires. You have soft tires, which give you the most grip. However, they are probably the least durable. That you probably have to come in on them after 20 laps. You could go for medium tires, which are just in between. They give you decent grip and decent durability, and then you have hard tires, which are the most durable set of tires, but they give you the least grip. And right now, Max Verstappen is killing Oscar Piastri on those hard tires. And we just had an incident. It looked like Fernando Alonso went off the track. He tried to overtake Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bull. Or excuse me, he tried to overtake George Russell in the Mercedes. But Max Verstappen is in the lead by 15 seconds. However, Piastri is about to go sub 15 seconds. Probably in the next lap or so. We're going to see what happens, but Lando Norris's decision to pit, it might haunt him. Because, I mean, if you're Carlos Sainz, unless your tires are shredded up and you see in rim, I mean, I'm not pitting. Carlos Sainz has an opportunity to get on the podium for Williams. Ooh, we saw a lockup out of Lando Norris. So Lando Norris is just, oh my God. And this is even better for Max Verstappen. If Lando Norris could finish in P5, that would mean I think Lando Norris would only get 25, 18, 15. I think Lando would only get 10 or 12 points. So Sainz is saying he does not want to come in. Carlos Sainz is saying that he is not coming into the pits. Carlos Sainz is going to go to war on these tires until the finish. Lando Norris is trying to get up into P4. He's trying to threaten Kimi Antonelli. We have 10 laps to go in this race. Max Verstappen is ahead of Oscar Piastri by 14.4 seconds for the lead. This has been an unbelievable F1 race weekend. This has been an this has been a good race. Good race where we've been seeing the results and consequences of each crew's of each team's pit strategy. Oscar Piastri continuing to gain on Max Verstappen, now behind by 13.9 seconds. Now behind by 13.8. So Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, Kimi Antonelli, and Lando Norris are all on hard tires. Lando Norris is now behind of Kimi Antonelli by 1.8 seconds. Kimi Antonelli now behind Carlos Sainz of the Williams car by 2.6 seconds. We've got 9 laps to go in this race. We are into lap 48. So right now, it's looking like if Max Verstappen chooses to continue to stay out there on these tires, It's looking like it's going to be a gunfight to the finish because Oscar Piastri is continuing to gain on Max Verstappen. Now, can he make up for 13 seconds in the next 8 laps? I'm not sure he can. But I think he can sure as hell make it interesting.
You are a failure. You are a failure. You can never make it. You can never. You know you cannot make it. You need to be cutting grass, making this place fresh for the actual footballers that want to use this place. You are tired. You are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you. Idiot.
Just awful day for Ferrari. God awful day for Ferrari. We are now into lap 50. With 7 laps to go. Lando Norris is now behind Kimi Antonelli by 0.5 seconds. I think the next time they go down the pit straight lane, Lando Norris is going to overtake that Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli is also behind Carlos Sainz by 3.3 seconds. So it looks to me like it's going to be a gunfight. If Lando Norris can get around Kimi Antonelli, I think Lando Norris might be able to get up and threaten Carlos Sainz for that podium position within the next 6 laps. If he can get around Kimi Antonelli in this lap, which is not a for sure thing. And Oscar Piastri is behind Max Verstappen now by 12.7 seconds. Mercedes-Benz, Angie baby, one of the Nazis' greatest manufacturers and producers of planes and engines. Mercedes-Benz. Did you know that, Angie baby? Did you know that Mercedes-Benz were Nazis? Max Verstappen just beautifully ripping through this course on those hard tires. Bro, it doesn't even look like Max Verstappen is braking. He is just ripping through these corners. Yep. And Audi used to be the auto manufacturers union. Audi, and that was a workers union created by the Nazis, and they competed with each other. Well, I mean, yeah, Hugo Boss was a Nazi. He was literally a Nazi. He was literally a part of the Nazi party from 1930 all the way to 45. But right now, we've just got 5 laps left in this race, and Max Verstappen is ahead by 12.4 seconds. Carlos Sainz is ahead of Kimi Antonelli by 2.1 seconds. And Lando Norris is behind Kimi Antonelli by 0.8 seconds.
to if he can hold on to a podium here.
It's a shame, man. I wish we could go back to the V8 engine days of F1. You know what I'm saying? Back those V8 engines used to sound beautiful. Now we in I think this is the V12 era. Or excuse me, we in the V6 we in the V6 era. Shit, I was in V14 or some shit like that. With 4 laps to go, Max Verstappen continues to lead this race on those hard tires. Carlos Sainz. Well, we could potentially be looking at a battle for P3, a battle for a podium position. Carlos Sainz is just ahead by 1.8 seconds. He's just ahead of the Mercedes Benz of Kimi Antonelli by 1.8 seconds. Kimi Antonelli, Kimi Antonelli has looked. I mean, if you just ask me, I mean, all the hype has been around George Russell. It looks like Kimi Antonelli is the lead driver for Mercedes. Just respectfully. Okay, the 19-year-old kid is out here kicking ass. Yeah, but your V4 is bullshit. These F1 cars, their V6 engines are double turbo charged. You understand, Angie baby? It's not your little whatever you drive. You probably drive a Suzuki or a Subaru. You know what I'm saying? A car with no balls. At least drive a Toyota or something. A Toyota has balls. A Nissan has balls. And we've got 3 laps to go in this race. 3 laps to go. Three laps to go. Can Carlos Sainz hold on to that podium position? Lewis Hamilton has managed to move up into P13. Outside of that, he's done nothing all day. Hey, Angie, baby. I mean, if you don't like honesty, I mean, that's your problem, respectfully. But we got 3 laps to go. 3 laps to go in this race. I agree, Pittsburgh T. I think Kimi Antonelli is really one of them guys. I think he's a prodigy. Like he's the guy they need to develop and foster their team around. You know what I'm saying? I think George Russell needs to settle into the role of I am the defense driver for Kimmy. I need to go out there and make sure I can maximize Kimmy's ability to get as high a position as he can. That needs to be what his understanding is next season. I mean, I'm sorry, Angie, baby, but it's a fact. My dream car, and matter of fact, as soon as I get this money, my dream car, I'm gonna get me a Nissan GTR 32. I'm gonna get it with some big ass tires when I bring it down when I ship it down here to the Virgin Islands. Nah, Kimi Antonelli is a young 19-year-old young man who is an absolute prodigy. You know, last week we saw, or excuse me, at the Brazil Grand Prix, we saw him go toe to toe with Max. Then last week we saw him refuse to accept a penalty, decided to ride it out for excuse me for over 40 laps on some beat up medium tires.
And we've got 2 laps to go. We've got 2 laps to go. Max Verstappen is ahead by 9 seconds. He, God willing, unless some type of accident happens, he's probably going to win this race. And Lando Norris overtakes Kimi Antonelli. And Max Verstappen begins the final lap. And it looks like Lando Norris overtakes Kimi Antonelli on the final lap. Carlos Sainz. Let's see. How much more ahead is Carlos Sainz in that Williams car? Can Carlos Sainz hold on? Carlos Sainz is ahead by 1.4 seconds. The McLaren dive bombed into turn 1. Carlos Sainz is trying, pushing with everything he has. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to take that podium place away from Carlos Sainz. And Max Verstappen! Max Verstappen! The true young prodigy. The young Michael Jordan of the sport. The young guy. This guy didn't three-peat. He's four-peated. And he's going to come into the finish line. Max Verstappen! He sees the checkered flag. He wins the Qatar Grand Prix. And Oscar Piastri comes in for P2. Carlos Sainz is leading by just 0.7 seconds. It's going to be a toe-to-toe slugfest into the final turn. But it looks like he's done it. Yes, Carlos Sainz gets P3. The sprinklers come down. The fireworks are going off. Red Bull has produced another winner. They win the Qatar Grand Prix. And let's see how this math works out. Max Verstappen picks up 25 points. And Max Verstappen now overtakes Oscar Piastri for second place in the championship standings. Max Verstappen is now behind Lando Norris by 25 points. Lando Norris is ahead by has 408 points. Max Verstappen has 396 points, and Oscar Piastri 392 points in the championship standings. So, ladies and gentlemen, next week it is going to come down to the winner of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. This has been one of the truly great seasons of the F1 Grand Prix Championship that I have ever seen. It has been dramatic. We saw one of the great races we've ever seen with Brazil a couple weeks ago. This race, we saw a lot of great strategy. And then last week, we had the drama of the disqualifications of the 2 lead McLaren cars. And it opened the door for Max Verstappen to do as he did. He jumped ahead. He now jumps ahead of Oscar Piastri in the championship standings. And if Max Verstappen can secure a win next week, or excuse me, I think if Oscar Piastri, if he can finish in if Oscar Piastri can finish in P3, he can win the championship. If Max Verstappen has to win the race next week. But if if Lando Norris can finish at least in 3rd position, I think the championship is his. But man, this has been an unbelievable season. Ferrari continues to disappoint and look like a bunch of bums. I'm gonna hold on. Let me play Ferrari's drop. Because Ferrari, as usual, looks like a bunch of bums.
You are a failure. You are a failure. You can never make it. You can never, you know you cannot make it. You need to be cutting grass, making this place fresh for the actual footballers that want to use this place. You are tired, you are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you. Idiot.
I mean, Ferrari continues to just look like a bunch of bums every time they head out there on the track. And it's a shame. It's a goddamn shame. But anyways, man, I'm gonna catch y'all next time when I go live for Democracy 101. Expect a live this week for Democracy 101, maybe around Wednesday. And we're gonna go live obviously next Sunday for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which is gonna be the finale of the F1 season, man. Catch y'all next time. Peace.
Fly in the sky.